Update: my 27 boyfriend 28 slept with another woman and claims I wanted him to. My hands are shaking. So sorry if there are typos. I don't know if I'll be able to explain what just happened. I am in a hotel room right now, just falling apart. I live with my boyfriend, Jack. We've been together 2 years. The relationship has been good. X is frequent. We say I love you often. And both of us participate in the other's family functions. I don't have any major complaints. And to my knowledge he hasn't been unhappy. I am deeply in love with him. I came home today about an hour early. I had started to get a migraine at work, which isn't super unusual. And once I started to get nauseated, I decided I should just go home and lie down. It doesn't happen a ton, but maybe a few times a year where I decide to take the afternoon off. My boyfriend works nights, so is often home during the day. Pulled in the driveway and his car was there. Not unusual. He doesn't work until the evening. Parked on the street out front like I always do. You can't really hear the car from that distance unless you're really listening, and went in the apartment. The bedroom is on the far side of the apartment from where I came in, so you usually can't hear a key in the lock or anything, especially with the air conditioning on. I said hello as I came in, but could immediately hear that the air conditioning on in the bedroom. It's a separate window unit, and pretty loud. I opened the door to say hello to Jack, and there he is, right in the middle of having X with a girl doggy style. They both froze, and she looked really shocked. He was just sort of expressionless. She immediately sort of scrambled for the sheets, but he just sat there. I guess I was in shock, because I actually walked in the bedroom where they were and got my suitcase from under the bed. I even said excuse me to the girl ducking my boyfriend. I went to my closet and threw a bunch of clothes in the case, and all the while he's constantly talking. I can't remember everything he said, but I distinctly heard him say, "I wanted to surprise you. We've wanted to spice things up in the bedroom." I didn't say anything and left and came to this hotel. We've discussed having a threesome in the past, and I even said I would possibly be open to it at some point in the future. I told him I found the idea exciting, but that we would need to discuss things and find the right person if it was actually going to happen. I never wanted him to just surprise me out of the blue. He's been blowing up my phone ever since. He's left several voicemails, and sent about a dozen texts. He said things didn't go like he imagined, but he thought it would be SI to have a spontaneous threesome. He said he was trying to fulfill my fantasy. I've been crying for the last 3 hours. I have no idea what to think at this point. I think he's lying to me, but what if he really thought he was doing what I wanted? Is it possible he's just that clueless? Please help. Too long didn't read caught my boyfriend in our bed with another woman. He claims he was trying to surprise me with a threesome. I think he's lying. Update. Firstly, thank you all for your comments and advice. My gut knew that I had to end the relationship, but I needed a kick in the pants to actually do it. The apartment we live in is actually owned by my uncle, with whom I am very close. I live there for free while attending grad school that is part of a building he owns, and was his way of helping me afford to further my education. He had no problem with my boyfriend also living there, on the condition that he help out with managerial duties and repairs around the building. I called my uncle and told him the circumstances, and he called Jack and told him he needs to find a new place to live. He's not on a lease or anything, so hopefully it won't be a legal issue. I haven't responded to Jack in any way since yesterday. I returned to the apartment this afternoon after going to the doctor to get tested for STDs. Thankfully clear so far. Jack was there. Since he spoke with my uncle, he knew that I was breaking up with him and wanted him out. He immediately tried to argue with me, saying once again that the whole thing had been intended as a gift for me. I just ignored him as I went around the place packing his things. He also said that the only reason he started without me was that he wanted to get used to the two of them together, so things wouldn't be awkward when I arrived. Apparently he thought having X with her first would make the threesome go smoother. I didn't even look at him, just kept packing. I am proud of myself that I didn't cry. I think I was past the point of crying. He kept blabbering on, saying that he just wanted to test the waters with the other person so that when the time came they could both focus totally on me. The final straw was when he said that I was being totally unreasonable and ungrateful for the effort he was putting into our sexual relationship. I stared at him for a minute, and then I just started laughing. I couldn't control it. I must have laughed hysterically for a full minute. He got angry but finally shut up and stopped trying to justify himself. I asked for his key, and then told him to leave. I said that he could call to arrange a time to come pick up all his things, but not to contact me for any other reason. His parents live in the same city, so I know he has somewhere to stay. He left, looking pretty forlorn. I didn't ask how long he'd been cheating on me. Just knowing about the one incident was enough. He's obviously not the person I thought he was. I don't feel like I even know him anymore. I am still sad, but I'm going to be okay. There's no way I could keep someone like that in my life. Thanks again for all the encouragement and motivation to end it for good. I knew the truth in my heart, but I needed to know I wasn't crazy. Too long didn't read he's delusional. Dumped him. There's a weirdly impressive element to his commitment to what may be In all seriousness, the worst lie ever attempted by anyone. It's absolutely astonishing how disrespectful it is for him to think you're dumb enough to believe him. I saw the post the other day and I really thought at some point in the update he would fess up to attempting the most ridiculous, unbelievable lie I've ever heard. But no. Is this guy even a real person? Like, how does he function if he doesn't see how ridiculous it is to keep going with the lie? Maybe changing the locks is a good idea. Second story. I think my wife 25 female raped me 27 male. I am not sure if she did or how to go about this. I am so confused. I apologize in advance if there's mistakes. I am on mobile and practically crying as I type this. First, I'll start by saying that my wife is a kind, loving woman and I never thought anything like this would happen. We've been together 6 years and married for 2 and it's been wonderful. We have little arguments here and there like any normal couple. One thing about my wife is that she's very sexually experienced. She, as some men would put it, got around before we met. I, on the other hand, haven't. She's was my third girlfriend and the second girl I had sex with. Which I don't mind, the past doesn't matter since she's with me now and she's been faithful since we got together. Now about the sexual stuff, I like my ex pretty basic missionary doggy and what now, but she likes these weird positions where I'm just uncomfortable. And she has this obsession with playing with my ass. I don't like it and I don't let her touch it. She's always asking to stick a finger in there or one of her toys and I always say no. That's not for me. And there are times in the middle of X when she'll try and it just ruins the mood and I always stop. She always argues my ex-boyfriends didn't mind it. They let me do it all the time and I say I am not your ex, I don't like that, and she says well you should try to be more like them. Now the incident I am about to tell you happened about 3 weeks ago. My wife and I had out 2 friends over for a couple of drinks. Now by midnight we were all pretty drunk and out. Friends decided to leave after they took off. My wife decided she wanted to keep drinking. I told her now we're already pretty drunk and she said come on, just a couple of more drinks. Reluctantly I agreed and she started pouring shots. I lost count after the 4th one. I think that I remember she kept pouring shot after shot. I don't even think she was taking them, just me. Eventually I got so drunk I started blackening out. Some of the last thing I remember was her leaving me to the bedroom and getting into bed. I remember my wife taking my clothes off. And then not much. Then I remembered feeling a sharp pain and suddenly I was face down and my wife was behind me, shoving one of her large dildos in my ass. I remember I think I told her it hurt and she said maybe it feels good. Or I'll make you feel good. Something like that. Then I blacked out again. I had thought it was a dream but I woke up and knew it had happened. I had a pain in my ass and I'd feel how it hurt. I don't know, I asked her about it and she said she took me to the room. I asked for oral and she gave me one. I don't remember that at all. She said that I then started begging her to duck me in the ass. That she said no but I kept asking her so she did. I definitely don't remember any of that and I know I would never say that. But what if I did? Fast forward to today and our friends came over again to drink but you couldn't. I had 1 beer and got too scared to keep drinking in case she decided to try to do it again. She kept making fun of me for only having 1 beer and she got our friends to poke fun at me too. But I just couldn't. I don't want that to happen again. I've tried talking to her about it but she keeps saying you enjoyed it, you wanted to just drop it. We haven't had X since that day. Every time she approaches me for it I make an excuse. I am just not conformable. I feel like she forced it onto me and is now lying about it. I don't know what to think. Reddit. Was I raped? She's my wife, does that make it okay? She said I said I wanted it. What if I did say that and I can't remember? I don't know what to do but I've lost trust in my wife and don't know how to get it back. Too long, didn't read. I think my wife raped me and is lying about it. How do I proceed after this situation? Edit. Thanks everyone for all the advice. I do feel I was raped. 100%. I am still taking a lot of things into consideration and I am going to give her one more chance to see if she'll realize she did wrong. I am going to get out of the house for a couple of days before I talk to her to give us both time to think. If she doesn't admit she did wrong then I am leaving her. I cannot be with someone who would do this to me. I still can't believe it. Hell, even if she admits it I doubt I'll be able to trust her again. I think my marriage is over. Reddit. I just don't understand what was going through her mind when she did it. Update. I have no idea the person I am married to was such a cold, heartless human being. I almost can't believe what happened. First, I'd like to thank every single one of you who replied to my first post. You all helped me come to the realization that I wasn't overreacting and that what she had done was incredibly horrible and a huge breach of my trust. Yesterday, while my wife was at work, I went over to my friend's house to speak with him. It took all the courage I could muster to tell him and his wife what had happened. He was angrier than I was at the time. They were so supportive and his wife even offered to have some of her friends go beat her up for me. I declined, of course. I then showed them the Reddit post and they both agreed that there is no bouncing back from this. To this point in the back of my mind I already knew I wanted to leave her. But hearing actually people tell me it was the right choice instead of just reading it really helped. They even offered me their guest room, said I can stay with them till I can afford my own apartment. When my wife got home I told her I needed to talk to her. First thing. She said this isn't about that night we got drunk again, is it? I am tired of talking about this. I told her it was, and we really needed to talk about it. There's nothing to talk about. I've already told you many times what happened, you need to get over it. I told her that I knew what happened that night wasn't consensual. That I knew even if I was drunk as hell I would never agree to do anything like that. And she yelled, well, you did. You were begging for it. At this point I figured she was never gonna realize she did wrong, so I told her I was going to be staying with my friend for a while to clear my head. This is the part where I couldn't believe what she was saying. She yelled, really, you're leaving because of something so stupid? Are you ducking kidding me? I said, it's not stupid, you raped me, you ducking raped me, and you're acting like it's no big deal. Are you serious right now? Girls can't rape guys, that is not how it works. I replied, you're my wife, I trusted you, I loved you, you don't do something like that to someone you love. You said it yourself, I am your wife, you can't rape someone if you're married. Are you even listening to yourself? Do you think before you speak, listen to what you're saying? It makes no sense. What she said next was the last eye-opener I needed. You're over-exaggerating. You're acting like I killed someone. All I did was duck your ass, stop acting like a beach and get over it. At this moment I said, duck this, we're done, and stormed out. I headed to my friend's house and told them what happened, and they welcomed me right in. I am gonna stay with them till the divorce is over. I've lost all hope I can save this marriage. Since then she's been blowing up my phone, leaving messages. First she begs for forgiveness, and then she says that I did her a favor by leaving her, then she says I ruined her life, then that I am her world and she can't live without me. I feel I've made the right choice. Reddit, some of you told me to call the cops, but K don't think I can. Even after she did what she did, I still love her. Thanks again for everything, guys. Too long, didn't read. I left her after she showed no remorse. Edit, thank you all so much. I read every single one of you comments. You're all so helpful. I couldn't have done this without you all. I wish I had the time to reply to every single one of you. I've decided to go to the police and file a report, even though it may be late for charges to be actually pressed. Someone pointed out that it'll be on her record and it might help in case she does it to someone else. Thanks again, everyone. I love you all so much. Third story. My sister 30 has a cheating spouse, M39. He says it's the first time. I F24 know he's a creep. Infidelity. My sister has been married to this creep with 3 kids for over 10 years. And dating for longer. I've never liked him. He's an absolute creep. He's always made me extremely uncomfortable. Even while having a newborn and while his then girlfriend, my sister, was at work. He told me directly that if he hadn't gotten with my sister, he would have gotten with me. I've never wanted to be around him, even with others around, and much less alone with him. The few unfortunate times that I've been alone with him, he finds a way to make sexual comments, which leave me feeling disturbed and upset. At the point when he tried to come on to me as a child, I ran away to my room. I have a really hard time remembering if anything else happened, which makes me think not, but I know I'm creeped out by him to this day. I never told anyone because I didn't want to ruin their relationship, and I was scared I'd be called a liar, since it was his word against mine. Suffice it to say, he also got with my sister when she was underage. Fast forward over a decade. They have many issues in their marriage and fight constantly. They've come close to separating several times, but something always holds my sister back from making the decision. Whether it be money, the children, or their marriage. I've been tired of the back and forth for a while, but I've dealt with it because I know as her sister, I need to be supportive. Well, this time, I thought it was finally the end. Long story short, he got caught checking into a hotel with my sister's best friend. He had taken many precautions to not get caught, but we were at the right place at the right time, literally across the street when he pulled in. My sister, our father, my sister's children, and I were on a road trip when we saw his car pull in. My sister confronted them and left us all in shock, including, I'm certain, her children, who are now probably traumatized. I spent the day with her, supporting her and listening as others also suggested that they separate. I begged her to stay with me at my place. Well, after telling all of her friends and family, the next day absolutely nothing changed. They were out and about at a restaurant together, getting groceries. Today, 2 days later, they'll be going to church, together. He maintains that it was the first time and that nothing happened, and has a very arrogant attitude through this all. Even having the nerve to ask me why I took a picture of his car at the hotel. At first, he was slightly apologetic, but then, said he refused to continue apologizing, and even refused to leave the house to give her some space to think. To top it all off, my sister's best friend and her husband both knew that my family has had a really difficult past with affairs and cheating. We were left traumatized by cheating in our family. In many ways, this is the worst way they could have hurt her. I think she's hanging on to the fact that this is the first time anything like this has ever happened. And that nothing went down. She's trying to maintain a positive attitude. I know she's also scared because she is financially dependent on him. And without getting into too much detail, there is evidence against her, although fake, that could put in jeopardy her custody over her children. I've asked her to visit a lawyer, to go to therapy, and to do anything else necessary to start building a case against him. I'm not sure where her head's at right now, and I've asked her to come over to my place to give me an opportunity to tell her, even though she's scared of what's to come. I know this has probably happened before because of my uncomfortable encounters with him. I know he probably does this to other women around us, and I know this will probably happen again. I also wanted to believe that he would never do anything like this. When she told me she trusted him fully, I tried to do the same, and was absolutely shocked when we had to stumble upon this. The problem is I can't move on from this. This has brought back memories of how uncomfortable he's always made me and how none of that was my fault. Even though I've always been the bad guy for not wanting to be in a room with him and never having a good relationship with him. I'm debating whether to tell her my experience with him when I was a child. I want her to know that this is a pattern. I don't think I can ever be in the same room with him again. I know that he'll continue hurting her, which is bad enough, but I also refuse to continue pretending that what he said to me when I was young was okay. He's not only a cheater, but also a child predator. The only thing that's holding me back now, and that has held me back for over a decade, is that I'm scared of my sister's reaction. I'm scared that she'll blame me. I'm scared that she'll write it off and continue to stay with him. I'm scared how this will change our relationship as sisters, but I don't know if I can hold it in anymore. I feel like I'm suffocating, and I believe that if I prepare myself for what's to come, I won't regret it. I'm almost scared to learn that the person I cherish the most, my sister, will be willing to write this off if it's inconvenient to her in her marriage. I'd love to hear advice on the situation and if others have been in similar situations. I'm really scared of the outcome, but I think this is the right thing to do. Too long didn't read. Sister's F30 husband M39 got caught cheating with her best friend F30. He swears it was the first time. I F24 know he's a creep, a cheater, and a child predator, and that this is a pattern because he made inappropriate comments toward me as a child. I am debating whether to tell sister. Hit like if you enjoyed this video. Consider subscribing to our channel.